Welcome to Bagpipes.
The premier pipe band podcast.
Nice.
Yay.
True fans here.
Yeah, we didn't even have to tell them.
No, we know what we're doing.
I've been on before. I did my own episode before.
Oh, yeah.
He ran the show.
Yeah.
So, hello everyone. Again, we are here talking to Dianne Nunez and Alex Lemoine, and you will recognize these names, of course, because you listen to every episode of ours. Dianne is my mom and also our pipe sergeant at the Mesa Caledonian Pipe Band, and the treasurer and all kinds of things, band mom, various things. And Alex is our very own editor-in-chief.
And a Mountain Dew aficionado.
Yes.
Mountain Dew aficionado, and the bass drummer in our band, and editor extraordinaire of all kinds of media. And he's had his own episode or two before, so several episodes.
Introduce your other co-host.
And this is the co-host who's not saying anything right now, and hopefully she won't be.
It's not very host-like to not say anything.
I know.
Yeah.
Sleeping. Yeah.
This is baby Amelia, and she's, I was wearing her in this little baby wrap I have, and
Wearing
she's
her.
Yeah, wearing her like,
it's like an accessory.
Yes. And she was sleeping so nicely, and I thought, all right, I'll just keep wearing her while we do the episode. So if she wakes up and starts to yell, we'll try to edit out any baby yelling. Unless it's super cute, and in that case, we'll just leave it.
Make it extra loud.
Yeah. Like bagpipes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we are talking today about the Gale project that the Mesa Caledonian Pipe Band did, which you, of course, listened to last week's episode on, which we had Kevin and Mike talk about how they did the audio arrangement and the audio recording and editing of that part of the project. And now we're going to talk about the video, which I think is a wonderful video.
It is
I think
epic.
it's great.
That's the only way to describe it. Yeah, it was epic.
So what we'll do is we will watch the video on our end, and we'll describe to you what's happening in the video, kind of do like a director's commentary. Yeah. And then we'll explain to you, we'll have some questions here for these two people who did a lot of the video filming and all kinds of stuff and editing. And we'll talk about how we did it and hopefully get some lessons learned so that if you want to do your own video like this, you will know what we did and what to do and what not to do. So here we go. Starting the video. If you're on our Patreon, patreon.com/podbandpipecast, you can watch along with us. And if not, if you'd like to go to YouTube, did we determine how to find this?
Just search Mesa Caledonian Pipe Band. It'll be there.
Or you can go to Facebook. It's on the Mesa Caledonian Pipe Band Facebook page, or it's also at mcpb.org on the homepage there. So tons of ways to watch the video.
You have no excuses for not having watched it.
Yeah. Okay, starting the video. Can you just talk in 3, 2, 1, start.
Nice.
All right, some cactus.
Prickly pear cactus.
Mm-hmm.
There's Cody, who's our drum sergeant with the cowboy hat and a cigar.
Clint Eastwood.
Mm-hmm.
And there's you actually playing the cello.
Actually playing the cello in the desert.
In the desert. This is all taking place in the desert, by the way. Cody's got his snare drum. And there's Lois playing pipes, me playing violin. Or fiddle, I'm sorry. Accessories.
Drum, cowboy hat, some stuff just hanging out. A lot of shots in the desert that we took. Good shots.
Chris from the back playing pipes. Chris
and
playing
the drone
pipes.
video was epic.
Pan up to see the rest of the desert.
Yeah. Usery Mountain with the big stripe across it.
Pan over once again, you playing the cello.
Swooping down on me with the drone.
There's Alex playing the bass drum in the middle of the desert.
Yep.
There's Foster at Salt River.
Yeah. We shot some footage there also.
Adrian playing her
whistle. More of the Salt River.
More of it.
Look at
lots of the Salt River.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe they have
stuff
that.
There.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe we have that kind of
There's
scenery.
Rope tension drum by the river.
Now, Dan, he was up in Colorado, I believe.
Oh, wow, okay.
Mesa Cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
Dave with his cowboy hat.
Kevin in a riverbed.
Throwing his mace by the riverbed. Rick at his house. in front of his memorabilia.
Elijah, Ben, and Kathy at St. Mark's Church where we practice.
That's a drone shot of Todd down there
Down
for a
in the
couple
water,
seconds.
Yeah.
There's Vicky.
Vicky. Bill Cooley at the cemetery. Mike McKee up in Mayer at the old deserted corral.
Nice.
That's what that is. It's a cool shot of the old wood there.
Yeah.
That's me.
There's Adela.
in the desert.
Wearing a
Yeah.
cowboy hat, doing some flourishing. Yeah.
There's Cindy at the Mesa Cemetery.
Some nice sticks.
Just a stick.
By the river.
I had to put some
Mesquite tree there. Yeah.
just like stock footage somewhere, some B-roll.
Some
Yeah.
sunset shots there. Yeah.
Sunset in the desert with some people playing.
Big saguaro cactus.
Who is that? I can't see. who that is.
Adrian.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Pointing the way to Phoenix.
It's you again.
There's
on the
me by
bagpipes.
the,
That's our cover picture.
Yeah.
the old saguaro cactus. Or cholla. There's Anne. She's up in Flagstaff.
Nice field there. And then there's
Ah.
Kevin on a diving board with his mace, and he jumps in the pool.
Had a whole day where we shot a bunch of footage in our pool.
Yes.
And there's
Cody.
underwater drumming.
Yeah.
Underwater drumming.
Cody's playing a snare drum underwater.
Mike and his skeleton, guy.
Skeleton,
I
yeah.
really enjoy this. Skeleton.
Yeah, that's good. feel like it fits
There's the
thematically
tenors
with
playing
the
in the pool.
Yeah.
Tenors in the pool.
There's Cody doing a backflip with the rain cape on.
In the pool.
And there
Just
goes the
tossing some
equipment.
stuff in
There
the pool.
goes the drum. Yeah.
Drum thrown in the pool.
And here's
I think that's
Todd
Todd.
in the pool,
Yeah.
and now Todd playing a drum set
With the floaties.
with
With-
the floaties on.
Pool
And
floaties
cap,
and a
yeah,
mask.
And a mask.
Kevin playing the guitar in his
And
house
bass.
with the
There's
guitar and
Foster
bass.
at the Salt River again.
Kevin playing guitar solo.
Yeah.
He's got a nice setup there in his room.
Yeah, it's
all
nice.
very and an Arizona sunset. You
Yeah.
can't beat that. The
That was
crescent
at the
moon.
also at the Salt River. We filmed that little sunset shot. There we go.
Nice. Roll credits.
Yeah.
And then
the stick drop, which it
You
is.
wanna-
It is a classic thing for our band.
Mhm.
Which I know that we had to like explain that, but it's
Right.
like we've done that in various things we do, and even a CD where you've got to have it.
Mhm.
so that was the video narrated for you very quickly.
Yeah, mostly just kind of saying who's there,
Who's there, what's
where
happening.
they're at.
Yeah, so in case you hadn't seen it or don't have time to see it or can't because you're like driving or something, I don't know.
'Cause you just listen to us because you obviously know the names of all the members in our band.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you'd be interested to see who they are,
Mhm.
what they're doing.
So now we'll start kind of the discussion of the video and filming it and all that. What was the vision behind this project, first of all?
Well, obviously last year sucked, for bands, and the reason people are in bands is because they want to make music together. It's not like you want to do this solo stuff, and so it was in the summertime. We started kicking it around. We had a board meeting, a Zoom board meeting, and by that time, a lot of other bands had started popping up videos, and they were the typical Hollywood Squares, Brady Bunch, blocks. And we were seeing that, and they were very good, and they were nice and everything. And I was just like, I think we should do one. Maybe it would help motivate our players because, I'm not motivated to practice. I have nothing to keep me wanting to do it. And so the board says like, oh yeah. So everybody's like, sure, let's do it. Well, then that kind of just stopped for a bit. And we had kicked around what tunes to do because we have a variety of players' skills in the band. And, we're like, oh, should we play Scotland the Brave, or what should we play? So I would say several weeks went by and I sent a message to the board and I'm like, I want to do the Gale because I said we did that at probably 10 years ago at a Tartan Day dinner concert that was a fundraiser for us. We used other instruments. It was really well received. It was super cool. We did it with a slow air version and then jig. And they're all like, yeah, let's do that. And so I contacted Mike McKee, and he still had the music, and he sort of tweaked it a bit. We rewrote some parts, and then Kevin went at it with the other instruments too, because he said, well, remember we had cello, yeah. Remember we had guitars, yeah. So we had to do that. My vision was, and I remember telling Alex this like so many times, I don't want to see squares of people.
Mhm.
If I see squares of people, I'm going to be really mad because that's not what we want. We have so many cool, I think that, I knew he had the skill, but I'm like, do our people have the skill to do scenery, Arizona scenery, or just go somewhere, and videotape. So that was kind of what the direction we were going. And I remember being really explicit about that. I don't want to see those squares in there. And we didn't. The only thing you had, there was like some rectangles.
Yeah.
There was no squares.
There were
and
like
that was
the
it.
people in the that were doing it in the practice
at the church.
hall. That was the only one. Because
And
I
that
wanted
was
to
it.
get everybody who submitted a video, I wanted to get everybody in there.
Right,
and that was
right.
the only stuff from those guys.
You should
Right.
have done like a CGI background. Why didn't
Oh,
you?
yeah.
CGI.
Screen.
Could have had something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was kind of the thought and to keep us motivated. And I knew that we had the talent in the band to be able to pull it off. It was just, could we
Mm-hmm.
harness it? Because people's motivation was pretty low.
Mhm.
I mean, I know that, mine too. So
Well, Alex, did you have anything to add about what your vision was?
did you have a different
I mean,
vision?
not really, no. Like, I know a lot of people, like, I just wanted it to look good, I guess,
you're like,
is
"Oh my
basically it,
God,
yeah.
that's-"
Because, like, it would be easy, like you said, to make the squares and everybody playing it at home like a Zoom thing. But yeah, it was fun to, like, make it look professional and nice and stuff. So that's what I was trying to go for, at least, is to make it look not just like we kind of slapped it together, which we didn't. Like, it took us a long time.
It took a
yeah.
while. And I mean, yeah. And you like pulled out the vision out of my brain, and I knew you could do it because you have the skill, and you're like the only one that would have the skill to do that.
So, oh yeah, Della's
My
turn
turn.
next. I'm sorry.
So what instructions did you give band members for recording their video?
Oh my. This was the hard part. You got all different kinds of players. And so we created master tracks for them to listen to. So we said, okay, guys, this is the master track. Here's the sheet music, for both the slow air and the jig. If for our say grade 4 players, grade 5 players, we said, just play the slow air. That's what we want you to do. And the grade 3 players, up and we can play the jigs, and we'll worry about that. And so we gave them the sheet music, the master tracks. We said, you got to listen to the master track on earbuds or something while you're playing it. Tune to 484. Everybody had to set, a tuner to 484. Alex did a click track that he laid over top of the master track, which was genius. And so people could hear a metronome in addition to the music. And
Well, it wasn't my idea, just for the record. Kevin, I think Kevin told me to
you
do
said,
that.
said you
but-
did, and you're like, all
Yeah.
right, I'll do that. And so once we had those master tracks done, then emailed out to people, and we created a Google Drive. And we said, okay, once you do your video, we want you to do a video in like your living room or somewhere where you can control the audio portion. Because if you go out on location to do it, you're gonna have background noise or not a good sound. So we said, just record you're basically 2 videos is what I had told them. And I said, when you go out on location, it'd be kind of cool if you wore your kilt, but you don't have to. And, we just said, so, hey, do that. So that was kind of, the instructions. I know that you guys had a heck of a lot of people asking, how do I upload my video? And I can't do it. I tried. And so there was a lot of
There's a lot of just sending them directly.
A
I didn't
lot of
realize how hard Google
consternation.
Drive was.
Right.
yes. And you're like, oh my gosh. Okay. But so the directions were complicated, but I thought simple. I don't know.
Yeah.
Depends on who you ask.
Right.
It
It
seemed
wasn't
like
too bad though.
No.
Like, yeah. No one was having
no.
huge issues at least.
No, there was a little panic, but not a lot. And,
Yeah.
And so we were, hopefully we, because we knew what we needed, and you knew what you needed, and I knew what I wanted to see, and I was hoping that we would get that.
Yeah.
And I know I looked at the Google Drive, and there was some people's like location videos. There was a couple that were pretty blurry. It was
Yeah,
like,
but
they
it's
don't know what they were
alright.
doing. Yeah, they didn't know how to exactly do it. But
Yeah, and it was like surprising too, because I for my instructions, at least for like the video and also for the audio, it's like just have your phone far away, like further away than you think you should have it, just because bagpipes are loud. You don't want the audio to be going super crazy and peaking and everything.
right.
And then also since it's far away, you know, I can always zoom in, I can always crop in, but I can't like crop out of your video. So,
Right.
and everyone followed that. Like I didn't have any issues with anyone's videos. It was all really good. Everybody did it in landscape mode, which was also good. I appreciated that.
That's
That's something that a lot of people don't know, because I see that for work when people send in photos too. It's like, just put your phone sideways. I know you want to do it vertical, but for a video, it doesn't make sense.
right. So that's a big tip. Pro tip is put it
Yeah. Just
horizontally,
sideways.
sideways. Yes, it's okay. It still works that way.
Mhm.
Yeah. So in between all of that, like videos of people playing, there was like, in the business, we call it B-roll. And there was also some videos that we took of like some of us in the desert, like playing in the middle of the desert. So do you want to discuss when or where and how were the desert and landscape shots filmed?
Well, I know, like I said, based on my vision of what I was looking for, I wanted to get some desert shots. And I know you and I were talking about, it'd be cool to get Cody in kind of the Clint Eastwood mode, you know, where he's got like the outlaw or whatever. And so let's go out to the desert. Close to where I live is the Levee Trailhead in East Mesa. It's a hiking area. It's real close to Usery Mountain, and you've got a good view of the Superstitions. So it's out in the desert, and but it's close enough where I knew people wouldn't maybe complain about having to drive to it, and so I scouted it, and other pod band pipe bass cast crew member Sean Jones scouted it with me to look and make sure that it would be good for scenery. And I took some photos and stuff and sent them off to Kaylee. It was right around that same time Kaylee got her commercial drone pilot's license, and that was like, yes. And I was like, so I wonder if we can borrow, you know, the drone. And they also had a really good camera. And so we were able to borrow those for this particular thing. And so we didn't know how much, you know, we were going to need for video, or how much time it was going to take. And for those of you who don't, I don't know. I didn't know this, but Kaylee's like, the best time to do photography, and maybe you probably know that, is towards sunset, just right before sunset. And in fact,
like right after sunrise, but that was too early.
Yeah,
I wasn't getting up that early.
I'm not getting up there. So it was right before sunset, and this was in October when we started the actual video work of some location stuff in the drone, and so I tell the pipe major, I said, well, we want to get you out there. Let's get you out there. We had Alex and Adela. They were coming out there. I went out there, dragged my cello and my bagpipes. We had you out there, Cody. And I think initially the pipe major, Chris, was like, ugh. And so we get out there, and he's, you know, and it's afternoon. It's hot in October here, in case people don't know that. In Arizona, it's still warm, and
Very
you don't
hot.
want to wear wool. And so
in the
he's
middle
like,
of the desert.
do I have to wear my kilt? And I'm like, yeah, you do, actually. and I also have props. Do you want to wear a cowboy hat? No, I don't want to wear a cowboy hat. So he had worn his band polo, which was cool. So we had some different looks a lot of times from people. But you know, so that's how that location started, and so then you guys went from there. Once you guys got on site, you decided what you needed to see.
And just looking around at like the scenery, and like you saw in the video, all the cacti and everything, just taking some B-roll of that. And I liked that area too, because it was like we didn't have to hike too far, but it was also there's a lot of like shrubs and everything hiding civilization. So in the footage, it does look like we're just in the middle of nowhere, but it wasn't even that far of a hike into the desert.
It's
So
like a 5-minute walk.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like I want to say from our house, it was like a 15-20 minute drive, and then like a 5-minute hike.
Yeah, because you
with
have
all
like a
the
little
gear.
parking area,
Yeah.
and literally at that parking area, if you look south, there's homes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, but then you look north and east, and
Big
it's just all
mountains,
desert.
yeah.
So
Yeah, and then I had to check too to be sure that I could fly the drone there, because a lot of places out here, there'll be like an airport really close, or there'll be some kind of restricted airspace or whatever. So, and then when you're flying a drone, you can see like everything. So speaking of like not being able to see civilization, I was like, all right, I got to be really careful with how I do these shots and these angles, because like there's like a house right there. So But I think in the video it turned out pretty. You picked
Yeah.
the shots.
You wouldn't
that were-
know.
Yeah,
you
a lot
picked
of the
pretty
shots
good.
were good and didn't show anything. And then it's also, I don't know, it's like cool to be able to just like hang out in a desert area like that. I feel like out here in Arizona, there's a lot of desert areas that are like fenced off and restricted. So that's also nice to be able to shoot somewhere so like open that we could kind of
Yeah.
find places in to film.
And apparently it's a great photography place because we, you know how we were
Oh, yeah.
setting up and all of a sudden there's like people in long dresses walking
Yeah.
past us, you know, with the professional photographer.
Like
and they're-
families and
yeah,
stuff.
family
Yeah.
photos. And we're like, oh, okay. And they're like, what are you guys doing? You know? Well, just standing out here like you.
Yeah.
And then after we did that first shoot, we realized we needed like probably some more angles, different scenery, and a few of the other people that didn't make it that day. So you scouted another location by the river.
Yeah.
Right. The Salt
Yeah.
River.
So again, close to us is the Salt River. And there's a lot of different places where you can get close to the river. And so the day that we ended up going, it wasn't a lot of traffic, but you get, you know, there's people tubing and, you know, their kids playing. And so it was an interesting challenge, but after you hiked in and down,
Yeah.
we found some good spots and we put Erica in the river playing tenor.
Yeah, and I know when
put
we were like
Todd in the
filming
river.
there was like a family right next to
Yeah.
us or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
like hanging
So
out.
they're
Like, what are you
watching.
doing?
Yeah.
You know, they got their dog. Yeah. You know, and
That was funny. We were doing all the filming because like I couldn't launch the drone right there at the riverbank because there wasn't like if there's trees everywhere.
Yeah.
So
So
I
it
was
thinks
like,
that there's like obstacles.
yeah, and I was like, well, I don't want to get in the river. And Cody's like, I'll get in the river and so he carried the drone over to the other side of the river where there was like a bank.
sandbar or something.
Yeah, a little island, and then I took the drone up from there and was like flying it around, and the people's dog went crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is that?
Oh, great.
And then I, you know, we were like, who wants to get in the river and play their instruments? And Erica's like, I want to, because it was hot that day. And I mean, it's a river, so I don't know. It was a lot of fun that day.
It was a lot of interesting. We had a little picnic afterwards, you know,
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
Ramadas, and so it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
good
then
time.
we also did the filming at our house at our pool.
Yeah.
That's the next question.
Oh, is it? Okay, I'm getting
Oh.
too far ahead. Well, then I'll wait until the question is asked.
I'll ask the
Yeah.
questions.
Okay,
here.
okay.
I guess it's time for that question.
Yeah.
Who's in charge of that question? Yeah.
So where and how were the underwater shots filmed?
Yeah, so that was filmed at Adela and me and Adela's house. I don't know how to say that. Yeah, whatever.
At my house. Yeah.
Yeah, we this is our house at our pool. We just had recently bought the house, so we were wanting to have people over,
Yeah.
and you know, with like COVID and everything, it was kind of like the first time we had a couple people over. Yeah, it was cool though. It was nice. We got to shoot underwater. Some people had some I think Todd had a waterproof camera, and then we had one also. And yeah, we wanted to film some like crazy footage for the jig, just because, you know, the jig is where got the
Gets
drums
shaky.
come in, the guitar comes in, it goes faster and everything. So we wanted to have some kind of like silly footage for that. So I forget whose idea it was even to do that, but
I don't remember.
yeah,
Well,
it
wasn't
was
a
maybe
Piper's
Cody
idea.
or Kevin
It
or
was
someone.
a drummer's idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know they tried to keep it secret. Did you know about
Yeah.
it, Dianne?
I did not,
Oh,
and not
good.
until after the fact. You know, and it was probably, I don't know at what point in time, I heard from somebody about it, and I was like, and yeah, but it made the video, so
Yeah.
it was like a great addition, and yeah, I wouldn't change anything about that. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was a nice day. It was nice filming. We got a lot of good footage there.
Mhm.
Everybody jumping in the pool.
Great
and
way to
everything.
break your pool in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's address that. We did throw a drum in the pool.
What happened to the perfectly good drum? Was it
No.
okay?
That was the number one comment that we got on our
Yes.
video. And whoever shared it anywhere, it was always like, why did
Oh,
you guys
no.
ruin a drum by throwing it in the pool? First of all,
We're not dummies.
we're not idiots. We knew that if you threw a drum in the pool, it would wreck the drum, even though it was a saltwater pool. So I feel like chlorine would have been worse.
I mean,
but
it's still bad.
It's still bad.
to have water in a drum.
Just saying.
Just-
The drum had a cracked shell. It was one of the old drums the band had bought like in the 90s or something.
Yeah, it was an old
And
Pearl, and
And we had used it, and we were still using those because we bought some new drums a few years ago, but still using the old ones for like people who didn't have one of the new ones because funding. But then this one was just so old and cracked, and we're like, this is not of use to anyone. It's like when your car, when the engine goes out on your car, it's like, just buy a new car, you know?
Throw it in the pool.
Yeah, so we were talking about, you know, you guys have a pool. Let's go see your new house and we'll hang out outside, and because COVID, and we'll swim in the pool. And then Cody's like, how about I bring this drum and I throw it in the pool? And we're like, what? So, and then it went from there.
It did. It was great. And that was a big comment that people liked that part of the video. So, you know, we had like this sort of serious thing at the beginning, and you know, and it was great. It was a great vision. And I you know, obviously a piper didn't think of it. Drummers did.
That reminds me, like, I remember early on in the figuring out what the video was going to be. I remember there was like an idea about like making Cody's whole Clint Eastwood thing a more like relevant part of the video. Like we were thinking of like having a narrative involved.
I
like
was all about
a
that.
shootout.
I was all about that.
Yeah.
And then it didn't end up working because, you know, we had to just logistics.
That,
yeah.
So originally the video was going to be much more silly than and turned out to be
serious.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was going to be a serious western.
A serious western.
We had
a spaghetti western.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was going to be okay. I won't ruin it because we might do it in the future. We don't know.
Yeah, no spoilers.
But there's like some old timey like ghost town looking places near us, and so we're like, we could go there and do a shootout. Because if for people who have never seen a gun holster, you can stick drumsticks in there.
I mean,
just saying.
in the video.
In the
You
video,
can see that right away. Yeah. And a bandolero worked real well for for you know, for looked like a drum sling.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe someday, but yeah,
stay tuned, I guess. Yeah.
The one thing that the Cody and Todd and Kevin said, because they were the ones playing the drum underwater, was so first of all they had to use some scuba weights, which by the way Kevin and Ben are both Coast Guard people, so they had the equipment and they knew how to do this safely and everything. Because if you're jumping into the deep end of a pool with scuba weights, you want to have a plan. So we had a plan for like, you know,
being able to drop things quickly.
Two Coast Guard guys on site.
We were able to pull them out if they had trouble. But they said it was really hard actually to play the drum underwater because once it got filled with water through like the holes, the acoustic holes or whatever, it was very heavy and they were weighed down and I
guess it was a bit of panic, wasn't it?
It was kind of scary.
For some of them, yeah.
It was kind of scary. And then you have to hold your breath and then play as much as you can and then take it off and get back up.
That's another thing about a lot of the footage in there, like that you see people like playing the drums underwater in the video, is like that's the most footage from that shot. Like before that shot begins, they're going down in the water, and right as the shot ends, they're coming up from the water. Like it's you got to hold your breath and play drum. It's nerve-wracking. So yeah, like as soon as some of that footage ends, that's when they go up to get a breath of air.
Of water.
A breath of water.
That could be too.
So just know, word of warning, don't try this at home.
Yeah.
No, Coast Guard guys.
Yeah, or people who know what they're doing. And then there's obviously you guys have lots of wonderful pool floaties, and we're like, we can't really do tenor drum flourishing underwater, so let's just jump on the pool floaties and just hang out. And
I feel that's like a tenor drum thing, right? You know, that's what tenor used to do. Just chilling.
And then we did a shot with all of us throwing the drum and the drumsticks and everything in the pool. We had an old Glengarry we threw in the pool too.
That was also old.
It was old. It actually improved it. It needed a wash
hat
anyway.
Of shame, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
You always have one of those hats of shame that if someone forgets their hat to a gig or something, you got to wear the hat of shame.
The old smelly Glengarry where the tails are like paper clipped on or whatever.
Exactly.
So that actually did improve the hat because it got a wash. You know?
Right.
Now it's not all sweaty from all the people who've been wearing it. So I think that would probably answer everyone's questions about the
and the pipe major did not know about that beforehand until he watched the video when it was right before it went live, and he looked at it and his eyes were kind of big and he was just kind of shaking his head because someone said they threw a drum in the pool, and he's like, where he kind of gets his lips real tight, and you're like, is he mad? I'm not sure if he's mad, but
He's probably thinking, how much money did that just cost our
is
band?
that just like $600 they just threw in the pool?
But then again, it was an old drum. We were not going to use it anyway. I think Cody kept it just in case we needed to do this again. Or, maybe in the future,
something else exciting.
I mean,
secret that,
we missed an opportunity with having the baby to do a gender reveal where we actually blew up the drum.
Yeah,
I mean, that would have been even better.
So who knows?
And lit the forest on fire.
Stay tuned for what Mesa Caledonian does next. Because that's the thing that was, going back to the vision, was that we just do stuff different here. We do not do what everyone else does. Sometimes that gets us in trouble, and a lot of times, but, and sometimes you have to invent the wheel when you do it too.
Yeah. Interesting times.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun though.
It was.
Thanks for listening, everyone. If you enjoyed this show, then support us on Patreon for exclusive content, as well as the video of us recording this. We'll have special exercises we'll be writing, as well as tips and tricks with tenor drumming and other instruments to come. Subscribe to us on YouTube for some tenor tutorials and possibly other tutorials later on. And like us on Facebook at Pod Band Pipecast.